All right, everybody, Dr. Imfan Akpan here. And this video is really, I don't know, this one, I want to talk about this because it's really got me thinking about things and thinking about where we're headed. I watched Google I/O, and one thing that stood out at the developer conference was Spark. And if you heard about OpenClaw, and we know about Codex and these platforms, Spark is a Gemini or Google product, agentic product, where you can pretty much plug and play and have it do tasks for you in Google Docs, in the Google Workspace. So Google Sheets, your Gmail, Docs, Drive, and you can even access it from the Gemini app on your phone and have it do work. You can give it skills. So these are saved workflows. So and this is great. I am definitely going to use it. I look forward to using it. But one of the things that comes to mind as a professor is, how do I engage students with this technology? How do I incorporate this? And then what does this mean for the classroom if students can be on their phone and essentially start doing their work on their computer, or have their agent to start working on things or drafting papers for them, and they don't have to even be at the computer to do this work. So what is this going to mean? Then it had me thinking about it, and it was a conversation I was having earlier this week, really about adoption. How many people are actually using these AI tools? Even though it is moving at light speed, I mean, how many people know about OpenClaw or Codex, Claude Code, Cowork, and now Spark? How many people are actually using this stuff? And I think that's something that I wonder about as far as the adoption. Is it just moving so fast that I mean, you can't keep up? It was moving fast before, but I'm thinking now we went into Agentic, and I was actually talking to my cousin, and we were talking about I got an L3 Mind Studio AI developer certification. So I went through this training. I'm able to develop AI agents. And then now the thing with that is harness. So harness, and then now you've got these captive platforms where, like Spark, where, I mean, you don't even need to know how to build an agent. So it's like, and it's plug and play, and it is so, I mean, amazing. It's like we're moving into this whole new space. And I spent all that time getting that certification, and within a few months, I'm not saying it's not valuable, but the platforms have moved so much to where you don't really need to know to use it to create an agent, or use it. You don't need to know how to put one together. It's pretty much plug and play from there. So I'm wondering where this will go. But I wanted to show you this and to take a look and just get your feedback on this. What do you think about Spark? Where is this going? And what will this mean for education?
Completing your busy work. And all of that without the complicated setup that usually comes with AI agents. In fact, in this video, I'll show you step by step how simple it is to set up Gemini Spark, and several easy but very powerful ways you can start using it today to automate your tasks. Let's get into it. When Spark becomes available to you, you'll find it here inside of Gemini. Clicking on this will switch you from regular chat to your Spark agent. Once inside of Spark, you'll find the prompt bar here in the middle. This is where you can ask Spark to do things for you. There is an important distinction here. Inside of chat, we have...
And notice the setup is similar to Codex where you have to access it through Gemini. So to get to Spark, you got to have Gemini. So that's the gateway. So, and it uses your memory. So the more you're using Gemini, the better your Spark will be. So it gives some stickiness to it.
Chats. These wait for you to prompt them. Inside of Spark, we have tasks, which Spark can proactively handle for you. It doesn't just answer your questions, it can complete multi-step tasks across all of your apps. That's what makes it an AI agent rather than just a conversational chatbot. Before we give it our first task though, let's get Spark set up. To do that, click on the bottom left here on this gear icon. That will open up the settings. And then you want to click on Personal Intelligence. Inside of here, there are several options. You want to make sure first that memory is turned on. This will allow Gemini to learn from your past chats to understand more about you. And this will be very helpful for something like Spark that gets smarter the more that you use it. You also want to come into Connected Apps. Here you can see that I have my Google Workspace turned on. This gives Gemini and Spark more access to the tools that you use to be able to help you across all these scattered apps. And guess what? That's all you have to do to set Spark up. There is a lot and is ready for you to start using. Let's come back to Spark and give it our first task. I'll keep this one very simple and very generic, so you can follow along with me and see how Spark works before we give it some.
Make sure to pay attention to how easy it is to plug and play. And now remember, this is all within Gemini and how it automatically connects with your workspace. So if you're embedded in Gemini, this works best with Google products.
More complicated tasks. I'll also be using the microphone button so I don't have to type everything out. Find all the emails I've received in the past 12 hours and help me prioritize them. I want to know which ones I should respond to, which ones I can ignore, if there's anything I need to add to my calendar, stuff like that. And if anything needs a reply, please draft the reply for me. And once that's all typed out, I can submit it along. As Spark begins working on your task, you'll be able to see right here everything that it's doing. So first, it pinpointed the relevant time window. It then looked through Gmail for any emails I've received during that time. And here you can see it's even looking at my Google Calendar and looking through Google Search. Now we have a confirmation request from Spark because anytime it's going to take any action, it's always going to keep you in the loop. In this case, it's telling me that I had a phone call with Amanda that was on my calendar and is asking if it can delete this event. And that's because Amanda emailed me and said that she's no longer able to meet with me, so needs to cancel. So I will confirm that. Now we have another confirmation request because another email that I received was from someone saying they were supposed to set up a meeting with me. I've gone back and forth sending this person several emails already. And now they've sent one to me telling me that the best time for them to meet with me was at noon Pacific Standard Time. So now Spark is asking if they can add that to my calendar. So I'll allow it. And now Spark is finished and we can see everything that it's done. So it found several emails that need to be addressed. And Spark already took care of some of these. So for instance, this is the email where my friend was proposing a meeting time. And Spark tells me that it already put that on my calendar. I can see that right here. And it drafted the reply. And I can see that reply right here. If I'm happy with that, all I have to do is click on send and Spark took care of all the rest. The second email is from one of my followers, and he asked for some help with signing up for Google Gemini. There are a lot of different pricing plans, and he's a little bit confused. So all Spark did there was draft a reply. Let's take a look at it. We can see that email here, and here is a breakdown. So it went out, did all this research, and put it together in this email. The third email is about a canceled event. This is my friend who I was supposed to get on a call with tomorrow, and she can't.
So I think this is important, and I just want to, and this is one of the things I think about. So now you've got an email agent, and this is something I could build in Mind Studio, but now you have it plug and play in Gemini with Spark. And think about looking at those emails. It's prioritizing them. It's going through the emails. It's actually creating drafts for you. So now all you have to do is review everything. You don't even have to write the email. You may edit it a little bit, but imagine how much time this saves compared to going through each one of your emails, having to read through them, think through which one is important, which one isn't. And that email for one of his clients, doing the research in order to help them out, it's already done. You can add an extra touch to it, but it's already done. And then what happens because of the memory in Gemini, it adds your flavor to it. So, if you're not using this, think about someone who is using this and how much faster they can get. Because you think about on the other end, you're getting an email. At this point, you won't know if someone wrote it or if they didn't write it. And in most cases, if you're emailing someone, you want a response. So now someone who's using something like Spark with just the email, they're not only faster, so they're able to get back to someone quickly, but also to give them that information that they needed. So they're faster and more efficient on their end, because now something to go through all of these emails, it might take you, 30 minutes, an hour. If you have to do research and then answer all of these emails, now you can go through it and finish it in maybe 5 or 10 minutes, 5 minutes if I'm pushing it, but in maybe 10 minutes, if everything lines up, you can go through and then just review the drafts and then send them out and then continue and keep moving, which makes you even more efficient versus the person who's not using the AI. And the thing of it is, you won't know. But when it comes to compare and contrast, if I'm working with person A and then there's person B, and person A answers my emails, gets me all the information I want quickly, and the other person may be just as competent, it may seem like they're not as organized or efficient because it may take them 3 hours when you can do work on this or get your emails not only on your computer, but you can go on the app and then take a look at this and then send those drafts and emails that are already written for you from your phone. So you could do this from anywhere, and it doesn't take a long time for you to go and do.
Canceled that call. So this was on my calendar, and now it's gone because Spark deleted it for me. And finally, the fourth email is an automated email that it's saying I can ignore, but it does give me a summary of what that email was about. Further down, it gives me a summary of all the drafted replies and a summary of the work completed.
People keep asking, how do we actually get an AI agent on our team? Well, it's easy. Watch how I do it in 60 seconds.
And it's pretty cool that with that simple prompt, it was able to find emails, draft replies, manage my calendar, and even do research for me. Before I show you some more use cases, I want to talk about Spark's other capabilities. You can find those by clicking and opening up the side panel up here. We'll start with skills. You can think of skills as saved workflows. So coming back to the task that would...
Now, one good thing I wanted to say about this is when you see that, the way it's set up, and now you see skills, you think about Codex, you got your plugins, you're able to save your workflows, the same thing with Cowork and Code. So we're seeing that the design of these platforms and the way they're set up is very similar. So from that sense, the learning curve is not going to be as high of a curve if you understand how to use one of the other platforms. So what I like to tell, and I was talking about this the other day, is that my philosophy is pick one platform and get really good with that platform. Learn as much as possible about it, all of the features. If you can, max out on that platform and learn as much. And those skills can transfer to other platforms. Not to say there won't be a learning curve. However, many of the features will be the same. So it won't be that hard for you to learn them. Something like if you're learning Power BI versus Tableau, maybe that's not a good example, but you know, they create visualizations. These are agentic platforms. And I think that's important because if you start using one platform, then you go to another one, yeah, you learn stuff, but you don't really get really deep into it. And what happens as these platforms continue and they keep updating and updating, and most of them, they go back and forth with the same features, you may hop to one platform and then that platform may not update as fast or follow the same path as the other platform, and you may miss out. Whereas if you just stick with that one platform and go along with the updates, the new features, learn how to use it, you'll be either ahead versus the other platforms, or maybe a little bit behind, but you're able to catch up as things update because they tend to it's very competitive. It's very competitive.
It's just completed for us, where we had it manage our emails. This is certainly a workflow that I'm going to ask Spark to do again in the future. Now, instead of giving it the same prompt every time and having to repeat myself and go back and forth about exactly what I want, I can just save this as a skill. So next time, Spark will just repeat this workflow when I tell it to manage my inbox. If we come back into skills, you'll see there are a few ways to create skills. First, you can upload a skill, which is just a text file with instructions in it. You can also set one up manually, where you can type out what you want it to do here. But my favorite way is to just ask Gemini to do it. So anytime I complete a task, let's come back to the task right here, and I'm happy with the results, I just tell Gemini something like this. Now, turn this into a skill that will run every time I ask you to manage my email inbox. And just a few seconds later, it'll tell you that it successfully created and saved your new skill. In this case, the skill is named Inbox Manager, and you can see the instructions for it right here. So next time I want to run this, all I have to do is click on Create a Task, type the /, and you'll see all your skills here. I can select that one, and it will manage my inbox the exact same way it did the first time. But you know what? This is a skill that I'm going to end up running every single morning, so it can manage my inbox every day. So instead of having to manually type this in myself, I can instead set up a schedule. You can find those over here on the left where it says schedules. These allow Spark to run workflows based on certain triggers. These can be time-based, but they can also be triggered when certain events happen, like when you receive emails. So once again, I will return back to the task that was completed, and I'll just tell it to run this on a schedule. Run this on a schedule at 5 a.m. every day. And look at that. It now set up an automated schedule to manage my inbox daily at 5 a.m. So every day when I wake up, my inbox will already be set and managed for me by Spark. You now have the building blocks for how to use Spark. And as you saw, it's really simple. The tricky part is knowing what to use Spark for. So let me go over a few use cases to demonstrate more of the capability.
So I'm going to stop here, and I want to find out what you think about this. You know, is this something you will use? I'm already doing a lot of this with Codex because you can connect it to your Gmail and to your Drive and even to your Chrome browser. But what do you think about this? Where is this going to go? The other thing, if you notice, the last thing he said was use cases. And I think we're going to move from using the technology because it's going to be so easy to use it. Now, developing custom agents and building them, I believe that's still going to be, and that's going to be a huge, huge opportunity, job as we move forward. So I don't think that's going to be booming. Also, the use cases. So you've got the tools. How do you use it? What do you automate? So I think that's another skill to figure out, well, how do I use these things to make things better, right? So he gave some use cases, but how could you put that together for your business, for your particular job or function to make things more efficient and speed things up for you? I'd like to hear what you think about this. I think this is so interesting. All right, if you want to hear more, make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you.